Senator, when did you first get interested in politics? When did you first want to be a politician, and what did you do?
I would have to say I first developed an interest in politics when I was in the 7th grade. At that time, I had the opportunity to run for student body president on my high school campus, and then from there, I had an interest to stay in student politics, and that moved from the high school, senior high school life to the college life, and from the college life to the law school life, and then into the real political arena.
And you held offices at Southern University, and then you decided to run?
Right. Freshman class president my freshman year, and then subsequent to that, president of the student body. I was elected to the Board of Regents. That was a big shot in the arm for me as a student to serve on a management board that governs higher education. So after serving, having a multiple position, student body president and student representative to the Board of Regents, gave me some feel to how politics and government works. And from that point on, I knew that you could make serious decisions that affect many people's lives all across the state in government. And I made the decision to stay involved and get more involved.
And how old were you, and what were you doing when you decided to run for state senate?
I was 23 years old. I was in law school. I was a junior in law school.
Can you start by saying when I decided to run for state senate?
When I decided to run for the state senate seat, I was 23 years old, a sophomore, or junior rather, at Southern University's Law Center. And I decided to put my head in the race. And it was a decision I had to make between state representative or state senator. My senior year in law school, I chose to run for the state senate seat. And I campaigned, I guess, my entire senior year. It was divided between classes at Southern and campaigning for the senate seat.
Now, you were elected in an election year, 1987, where people have thought that there was going to be a big change in Louisiana politics, that reform was coming. Has reform come to the state legislature and state politics?
Without doubt. We're doing various things from an educational perspective. Educational reform is on the forefront, raising teacher salaries, spending more money in the classroom. Also from an environmental perspective and from an economic perspective. It's not happening overnight, and that's, I can't say it's bad because it wasn't created overnight and it won't be solved overnight. There's a serious calamity in this state because we don't have the dollars that we had from oil and gas. So we have to move much, much slower because many of our problems can be solved by finance. And all of our institutions, I get calls from university presidents every day about enhancement funding. And my first year in office, my second year is not enhancement. It's like, Cleo, let's just give us what we had last year. We just want to maintain what we have. So it's a very difficult task for any legislator during this day and age.
You tell me that about the feeling you had when you woke up in the morning and what you were thinking about in terms of what you had to do during the day. Can you tell me? Could you repeat that for me?
You wake up. When I ran for the state senate seat, my whole purpose of running was to help people economically, educationally, and otherwise. And I had the thought of waking up in the morning with the attitude of helping people and actually being able to help a lot of people, from jobs to improving a higher education institution in the state. Now we're in a situation where when you wake up in the morning, you get phone calls from people from all across the state, not only in your district, about their institutions, about jobs, about everything from all facets of life. And the calamity is you're not able to firsthand help a lot of individuals that you come in contact with. And that's very difficult because when you want to serve and you want to help and you want to do good things for people, and people have legitimate gripes and cries, and you're really not able to do it because of the economic posture of the state, it's very difficult. So it's many nights, not only myself, but legislators from all across the state, go to bed feeling uncomfortable. Just going to bed feeling that you just didn't do enough. Not because you didn't try, but because the resources are just not there.
You were telling me just one last thing on this, that in the morning you think about not what you could build, but what you had to. So could, in very briefly encapsulated one sentence, what you were hoping for, but what you have to do.
Well, it used to be a time in Louisiana. You would wake up in the morning and you'd walk into the state senate or you'd walk into the chambers on the House side, and you talk about what you're going to build today and whose budget you're going to increase and what schools you're going to open and things of that nature. Now you're in this posture where you wake up in the morning and there's a situation you have to deal with which schools are you going to close and what budgets you're going to cut, not because you want to, but because of the financial status of the state. So it's very difficult. It's difficult for all legislators because no one want to cut. No legislator, I think, want to come to this legislature and close and lay off state employees. And it's a decision that you have to make not by choice, but by obligation to a large degree. And many times you bite the bullet and not do it and hope that we raise money in the future to take care of those ills. But it's a big calamity.
You know, a lot of people in the past said that Louisiana politics is very colorful. It was a lot of fun. Has the fun gone out of the politics?
Well, I guess fortunately or unfortunately, I've never been a part of the process to the extent it was fun. Meaning having a lot of money to spend, being able to do all kinds of things because of the resources were there. Since the day I walked into the legislature, we were dealing with very serious financial crisis. I've heard a lot of talk about some of the things that legislators used to be able to do in terms of building and roads, highways, schools, bridges, the whole works. Now it's a different story. But it's changing. It's changing every day. I mean, we're able to now start a serious project for our highways. We were able to give our teachers a raise in 2 consecutive years. And that was not without hard decision. Cutting budgets and trimming the fat, so to speak. And I think we've trimmed the budget enough, and it's going to be some more difficult decisions in the future. And I hope and pray that oil and gas will rise, but also that we diversify our economy.
You know, people can talk about reform and how that's the change, but for many people, the biggest change in Louisiana politics from the days of Earl Long is the fact that blacks are no longer excluded. They're part of state politics. Has the inclusion of the black citizens of Louisiana made a big impact or changed Louisiana politics and government?
I think anytime you include people from all walks of life in any process, there's an improvement, be it educationally, politically, or economically, for that matter. And so from that perspective, yes, there's been some improvement, remarkable change, because and I think you see that all across the country, even in Berlin with the coming down of the Berlin Wall. There's a need of unity and working togetherness all across America, all across the world. And when you include people from all walks of life into the decision-making process, it brings prosperity to America. So I see some remarkable improvements, and I think we have a lot to do in the future.
How do you think, in terms of the average man on the street, man and woman on the street, for a black Louisianian, the changes, what have been the changes? Well,
whenever you have people representing people from a particular...
Let me start this one to repeat the question. Let me make it... what changes have black Louisianians gotten from political change in the state?
Well, I think you see a change in the Jim Crow laws. I think before blacks had access to the political process, Jim Crow was more live and well. It's more overt. Jim Crow laws. I mean, actually on the books, the Louisiana statutes and in the law books. Now you don't see that. And that's not just because blacks are admitted to the legislature and blacks are able to run and win, but because they're conscientious people, be they black or white, who are really ready to put aside the racism banner and start working on a banner of common ground. And that's needed all across America. And that's not to say that we are at a point that we're comfortable, that America should be comfortable. I think anything that we can do to kill racism, not only in this state but all across America, we need to do it. I personally have zero tolerance for racism of any kind, be it sex, be it race, or whatever. And so from that perspective, blacks, I feel, have reaped some very serious benefits just by being able to participate in the decision-making process.
What is it like being a black legislator in this state legislature?
It's just like being, I don't know if there's any difference between being a black legislator or white legislator in this state or any other state. And why do I say that? Because I think the issues are colorblind, and legislators deal with issues. Myself as a legislator, I mean, when I introduce bills, the drug-free zone bill. It's not a drug-free school zone bill for black schools or for white schools, for our children, be it black, white, green, or blue. So from that perspective, I don't think there's a difference between black or white legislators. In terms of your ability to get legislation passed, in the Senate, I haven't seen a bearing on my race from that perspective. And that's very fortunate. And I didn't come in to the legislature using my blackness against me as a stumbling block. And I don't think the colleagues in this body took my color and their color and said, well, we got one versus the other. Because this is a very serious decision-making process. There's only 39 legislators, or 39 state senators, and cannot afford to play games because one is black and one is white, and which is in my light is very productive. But as a black legislator, I mean, I haven't seen any, and I can't speak for a white legislator because I'm not white, but I don't see a difference in terms of being black or white as a legislator in the legislative process.
You're probably aware that Louisiana has a reputation, maybe more than other states around the country, in terms of its politics. What kind of a reputation do you think the state has?
I think we have a good state. I think the reputation is the only negative I've seen as I travel all across this nation as relates to Louisiana politics was the election of David Duke. But David Duke is not Louisiana. He's not even Louisiana legislature. He's, first of all, one of 144 members of the entire legislature and one of 105 members of the House. A lot of people look at Louisiana and they see David Duke on national TV and they feel that that is the makeup of Louisiana. But that is not the case. And as I travel all across the country, it's one of the numero uno questions that's asked of me. That is, how do you feel about David Duke being in the legislature? But if you got 144 individuals, one person can't effect change without support. And we've been very fortunate not we've been very fortunate to the extent that Duke is not effective in this legislature.
Louis, anything? That's fine. Thank you.
We okay?
Just give us the little room tone, okay?
Just 30 seconds of nothing so we can
Okay.
nothing in between them.
Yeah. So is that all we have?
30 seconds of silence and we'll be done.
Oh, silence.
You just need the room, the tone of the room.